All right, cyber traders, good morning and welcome on back here this Friday, end of the week, this August 12th. Great to see all of us live inside the Cyber Group trading room. Grant, Renzo, James, Craig, Cal. Great to have Cal back with us, actually. We have Henry, we have Kathleen, Leda, Egan, and all of us inside the live trading room. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. Great to be back here in the mornings. My name is Josh Levitan. For any of our new attendees here, I'm Fausto, senior instructor at Cyber Trading. I'm actually tagging Fausto out for today, and I believe for all of next week. The man's on vacation with his family, so obviously well deserved. And with that, I mean, hey, we'll see what's out there going into today, and then obviously heading into next week. But hey, typically on a summer Friday, there shouldn't be a whole lot out there. Now, with the market that we've had this week and from the end of last even, there should still be some volatility, but I'm expecting the volume to generally die off within the market a little bit sooner than later, meaning normally around that 10:30 Eastern time frame. That's where we have that reversal hour, so to say, based off the cyber clock. Look for that to finish up a little earlier. Look for you to finish up these moves around 10 o'clock, 10:15. Better to have lower expectations than higher expectations, because last thing you want to have happen is to waste the big profit that you were already up on, or worse, you think that there's a lot more left to a trade, and then you try and be a shooter out there and you jump in at the highs and then it comes crashing back. So that's where I say, hey, when the market opens from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, 10:15, prime time, have all the confidence in the world based on at least what we're looking at. So with that, that's when I would expect the volume momentum ultimately to begin to die off. Karen says consumer sentiment numbers at 10 a.m. today. Well, that could actually generate some volatility within the market depending on what comes out. Obviously, we just came off the CPI numbers from earlier this week, which led to a huge squeeze. But from yesterday, we had a bit of a pullback. And with that, we'll see if there's any sort of continuation with that heading into the opening bell. Now, with that, though, the UBX trade is on the screen here to begin. It's up over 124%. So it's not as if there's not opportunities on a summer Friday, right? I mean, obviously, UBX ended up making this big move early on in pre-market. Well, from there, after 8 o'clock, this ended up giving us a lot more life left to it from there, namely off the 160 level. So with that, we were calling 160 out right after 8 o'clock. Big level, strong level. Well, let me ask you, for Grant and for Alex, one of our students here in the trading room, and for Robert, and for any of our students, perhaps otherwise, Michael included as well, anyone, when a stock breaks through a big level, generally speaking at least, what are we expecting shortly after? When a stock breaks through a big level, it's one of my famous Josh quotes, we're expecting a big move shortly after. Now, does that guarantee up? No. So if it broke above 160, came right back under it, I could have seen this thing drop all the way down, a true reversal. So thankfully, from there, right after 8 o'clock, once it broke above 160 here, it made that big move shortly after for $1.50, $1.60 stock. How big is big? Listen, 20 cents is a pretty big move for a dollar stock. If you go walk away 15, 20 cents profit on a $1.50, that's a huge gain. That's like a 10% plus gain. So with that, it continued to push up just before we started this meeting. I wasn't as much of a believer at that point. I wrote that in the trading room just a moment ago before we started. It's like kind of lingering here. I'm not a believer, yet. And it ended up actually making a nice little run shortly afterwards. So I should have believed a little bit more there. Definitely for right now, I'm going to put this on our main watch list heading into the opening bell, heading into the market open. For anyone just interested as to why a stock like UBX is up over 123%. I'll tell you what, I'll read the headline, but it's way above my pay grade. So, UBX is a biotech stock. Looks like UBX shares trading higher after the company announced 12 and 18-week data from its phase 2 Behold study of UBX 1325, which showed a statistically significant and clinical meaningful improvement in mean BVCA. Folks, I don't know about you, but I didn't understand really any word that I just said. So it's to say that we're not trading the stock because of whatever BVCA, or whatever phase 2 study came. We're trading the stock based off the big icebergs out there, the big orders out there, and the bid and the ask. All right. Well, how about this, folks? Really quick. I don't like to teach as much during these meetings. We got to, be quick with time. Do we see any icebergs out on this stock right now? Any big iceberg orders that you currently see? Look at level 3, look at level 4. If you have it, let me know. We don't need to be scientists to make money, folks. I don't care about the news, right? It's nice to know that news is out that's generating, move up. But Norman says 180. Absolutely. That's what I was looking at least from my TradeStation matrix, my level 3 right here at 180 on the bid, 39,000 shares. I respect that. Let's draw a line there heading into the market open, plot that level. And then Brian says 2, which, 2 up top, there's like a 25 plus thousand share order sitting there. So that's definitely big. We would assume 2 to be a pretty big level in its own right anyway as a whole number. So, 2 is resistance. You got the VWAP there at 181 as well. And then, like we had said, 37,000 shares on the bid sitting at 180. All right, so folks, let's go from top to bottom here. We've had a pretty interesting pre-market. The UBX trade paid off pretty nicely. There was another trade, SPRC, that ended up making a bit of a push after 8 o'clock. But let's go from top to bottom here, see what we could just quickly put on our watch list before the opening bell. The V stock. I didn't know if this was like a Gary Vaynerchuk stock or not for anyone that knows him. Like V-E-E-E. It is not. I'm just, kind of joking with that. Looks like this made a big pop just before we started this meeting, though. So it was really ugly and flat dead for most of the pre-market. Definitely happy to see this move here. A little thin on the order book, so be careful of that when the market opens up. But I don't mind slipping this on our main list for right now, the V trade. I'm not going to recite the news for every stock, folks. Most news, most headlines that come out, especially if it's related to biotech or pharma, I can't pronounce half the words. All right, NEPT. I was hopeful to see a bounce off of 2 on this trade. I didn't call it out in the chat board, but I was just generally hopeful for a bounce, off of 2. It was slumping off there, but this thing ended up just crashing right under the level as we started this meeting. So definitely not looking nearly as good now. I mean, you want to follow a stock that has, a trend up leading into the open. This ain't it. So right now, I'll write this down even on the side. I mean, it's tradable. It's got a great spread. It's right within all of our price ranges here. Pretty cheap stock. But let's see if there's anything looking even better, at least namely on the way up. AEY looked all right at first, but obviously not really looking as great here. Pulled back, flattened out, back under what appears to be resistance from the chart, roughly off 190. Looks like actually a beautiful head and shoulders that built. So I'll keep that on the side too here. I'll come back to them at the end. Maybe they have one more, pop before we finish up this meeting. LRMR. I mean, hey, this is making a bounce here. I like to see it. Ended up, actually, looks like this thing got halted and reopened up in the after hours, actually, yesterday, and then slumped off before as the market, or, heading into the pre-market, heading into the 8 o'clock move. But now, nice little push. You definitely want to see the order book fill in a lot more here after the market opens. That's going to make this stock tradable or not. So if this has a very thin book after the open, then there's going to be better trades to follow, in my opinion. For a cheap stock, you would want to have this filled in a lot more than not. So LRMR for right now, it'll make the cut just given this squeeze up here after 8:45 and after 9 o'clock. And we keep it going. All right, we'll kind of skim through now at this point. So if there's anything looking really strong or trading a ton of volume, I mean, I see these cheapies that are like 19 and 20 cents. I'm going to skip over those. NLTX, dollar stock here, trading 240,000. Not a whole lot happening there. Now, I know Norman had called out Smile Direct Club earlier, right? So at the time, it was a good call out. It was pushing up, obviously flattened out and died off for a bit, but this ended up making a pop in the after hours. This has short squeeze written all over it. Does that mean that's going to happen today at the opening bell? No, that's certainly what we hope to see happen, at least. That's our hope. But given how much this stock dropped off back over the beginning of last year into now, it's taken a huge hit. And then even from probably beforehand, I'll just jump to a monthly chart here. Yeah, I mean, this thing off its IPO is like a $20 stock, $21 stock. Ended up moving up over the pandemic with the whole market at that point as it recovered, but has only dropped off since. This could be a very good short squeeze throughout the day, or if not even today, maybe just keep it on your radar for the beginning of next week. But SDC, I'll put on our list here for right now. It's a stock that we are pretty familiar with inside the live trading room. All right, we keep it going. Man, a bunch of these cheapies, and I'm not even talking about dollar or $2 stocks. I'm talking like 50-cent stocks, and we're not trading those really. So we got Hour here, $3.80 stock up over 5%, but the chart, you tell me. This isn't really looking too great. All right, folks, let's jump over to the loser side now. Maybe there's, a lot looking better from that side of the field, but, if there's anything moving upward that I may have missed, definitely type it in the chat board now. That's how we work together as a team, and we'll see if there's anything that I'd missed or anything popping as we go through. We got the Codex trade. Speaking of familiar names, CODX, we ended up seeing this stock over the pandemic with COVID. One of the first actually at the time that made that huge spike and push up. Stock went from basically 350 all the way up to 25 and change over that point. Well, I don't know what happened here. It took a huge hit. It could be earnings related. It could be something to do with a drug or vaccine. It's to say that this stock is shortable, at least on my platform. Check to see if it's shortable on your platform. If it's hard to borrow and you can't short it, then I would move on. But I feel like this will be a good short here heading into the market open, or at least after the opening bell for that matter. So CODX, I don't mind slipping on here. Obviously, it's flat in pre-market, but it's down big. It's shortable. Reminds me slightly of the Sono trade from yesterday. We ended up seeing Sono down big from the after hours the night before, and that got crushed once the market opened up and only continued to drop. That was down over 20% yesterday in pre-market. Same to be said with Six Flags. Six Flags was kind of flat in pre-market heading into the open, but it was down over that 20% already. And then once the opening bell hit, so maybe the same could happen there on the CODX trade. It's definitely worth putting on our list for that reason. OLO, down just as much. Don't get me wrong. And if anything, I mean, hey, for a short, you would want to see this begin to pull back. But if this is going to make a dead cat bounce, this is down enough for me to potentially consider that. If it's not going to break down and drop off more, perhaps there could be a nice squeeze, or, as we call it here, a dead cat bounce after the market open. So I don't mind slipping this on our list here for right now, too, the OLO trade. Speaking of drop-offs here, PBR. Geez. Now, normally, I'll be honest with you, normally, if you look up level 4 or put this up on your book map on your level 4, it's a tougher read. I feel like this PBR is largely algo-driven. And I just say that based off how hard to read the book map could be for this stock more often than not. So, for right now, I'll definitely put this on our list. It's dropping off quite a bit. It's going to have good spread when the market opens up, or at least I'm led to believe that. So with that, I would definitely be more so to use like the CVP columns on level 4. If you have TradeStation, this is actually going to be really helpful for you. Looks like a bunch of volume got filled specific to 1255. Actually, look at that. That's very distinct. So there you go. 1255 is a 1255 is a pretty damn big level. If you're looking at my time in sales right now, I think that you could see why. So again, whether it's from level 3 here, level 4, if you have it, I'm not showing my level 4, or if you're doing a little old-fashioned tape reading here, folks, it ain't hard to see. 1255 is a monster level for today on this PBR stock. All right, we keep it going. Nice short on that one so far, and a beautiful level at that. So, whether it squeezes back up there or not, that 1255 on PBR will be very strong, or at least you have to imagine for it to be. Now, we're at this point, we're kind of heading into the 5% category. We're getting a little close towards the market open now anyway. So I want to make sure our students have enough time to prepare, chart, and get ready before the opening bell. But folks, if there's anything else that looks good, type it in the chat board now. Anything else that I may have missed, up, down, left, right, more than that 5%. Just quickly skimming the losers side right now. There's not really a whole lot out there otherwise. No real familiar names. All right, what do we got? Norman saying DNA trying to pop. It's up over 5%, and well, now it is, and it's trying to make that squeeze. I'm not going to be as particular about this stock for one key reason, and it's a good shout from Norman, because otherwise, if this stock didn't make the particular move that it made yesterday, I would slip this right on our list. But this stock ended up making such a big pop and drop yesterday. I'm certainly led to believe the same will happen at the opening bell today. Hey, if PACB was making that squeeze up right now, I'd say the same thing. Look at PACB from yesterday. This is like base. I want to check this out. Is this like a legit doji? Oh my God. Stock went from 775 to 1420. It technically opened at 786 and closed at 794. Listen, that's not a technical real doji, because the open and the close are not exactly the same price, but come on, that's as close to a doji. You call that like a what is that, like a gravestone doji, something like that. Just, that's as close as you can get. I wouldn't expect for another big pop, at least on this PACB. Same to be said on that DNA, but that was a decent shout at the time, Norman. I mean, it's tradable, definitely tradable. AMC. So AMC we had on our pre-market list. Chuck, I appreciate you just shouting this out again. AMC ended up making a big move across yesterday afternoon when the markets were actually dropping off. It went completely against the grain, actually. So with that, I put this on our pre-market list early this morning. I was looking for that move right off of, I think at the time I'd said 2630, right? I had said 2630. Ideally, it needs to hold over as support. I said that right at 8 o'clock. So obviously it didn't do it there, but ended up holding 2630 beautifully after. And alas, there's a run. Got to trust the levels, folks, especially what we're calling out inside the trading room. So if you had your eyes on AMC there off 2630, you're looking really good. Norman shouts the Bed Bath Beyond trade, Bobby J. Yeah, we're going to put both on our watch list here, AMC and the Bed Bath Beyond trade. Nice. Cool. Let's go to YouTube right now. So from Mitch shouting out the V trade, VEEE. Yeah, this one looks a lot better now, right? We had this on our watch list already. So we did put this on our list. And with that, it ended up making the higher high. So very nice run on this V trade. From Raj asking on YouTube here, do you know why UBX is not moving much with over 31 million volume traded during pre-market hours? See, I want to actually post that on our YouTube stream here, just for recording purposes too, for anyone that joins late. So Raj, with a really good question, do you know why UBX is not moving much with over 31 million shares traded already during pre-market? I'd say it moved. I mean, this thing went from $1 up to $2. This thing made 100% move in pre-market already. Volume doesn't always guarantee continuation. That's the thing, right? So with that, it made such a big move already that perhaps it's just more exhausted now prior to the opening bell. Perhaps people are either distributing early, knowing that it's going to tank right away. So they want to control it at least right here and have it stabilized so they could distribute. Maybe as a counterpoint, maybe market makers are accumulating here, knowing that they're going to send this thing to the moon right at the opening bell. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. So don't pull your hair out thinking, one or the other, please. But it's to say, for as much as this stock moved, it is definitely more often now than not to see this exhausted, to see it flatten out at least. Now, at this point, we're not going to hold any position heading into the market open. You should be out of this trade at this point. You could always get back in should it make a good move for you afterwards. Should it break over 2 again after the market opens up? Should it pull back and hold support off 150 better or even 130? So definitely don't look to hold into the open. You always have a chance to get back in. But at this point now, like we were saying, where's support? Where's resistance? That's what you have to follow, right? So, we started off with this stock at the top of this meeting, and that's what we were covering. So that's what we primarily do inside our live trading room. I may as well say this now. For Raj and for all of us on YouTube and Facebook Live, Mitch included, if you wanted to be a member inside our live trading room to learn more about what we're exactly doing here, just go right down to the link on the blue banner below right there to just join up as a trial member. But otherwise, for right now, for those of us there right now, Jeff, Rob, Grant, Chuck, Norman. We're the ladies of the room right now. I had Lita in here just before earlier, Kathleen too, but nonetheless, for all of us, of course, all together. There's Karen saying I'm here. Perfect. All right, so it's to say for all of us inside live trading room, let's just make sure that we have enough time to prepare, get ready before the market opens. For Raj, for Mitch, for all of us on YouTube and Facebook Live as well. I always like to post my email here at the end of these streams. Any questions that you have before joining us here as a member, feel more than free to send over my way. Josh at ctutrading.com. I answered a couple of emails actually yesterday, more so relating to crypto. I look forward to doing a little crypto talk heading into the afternoon meeting later on today. All right, folks, but for all of us inside the live trading room, I look forward to catching up with you folks coming up at the opening bell. Talk to you all soon.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9.